I know you're going to like this one because you are hashtag English Gang. You are the cult leader of hashtag English Gang.
AFL fantasy coaches, welcome back to another installment of Game Day Squad's Aussie Rule show. This is going to be for round 16, and what a week it was. Up the Swannies. It's about time I can say that on a show. We finally got a win. Cal, mate, your port had the bye. You got to sit back, relax, and enjoy the round. How are you going? Are you ready to talk some footy?
I am, mate. I am. It was sad not seeing Port play, but I did load up my forward line with a lot of Swannies, which means I was able to enjoy that win as well. Also meant my fantasy team did pretty well. I'm pretty excited to talk about that. I don't beat you much. I did this week, so I'm keen to get into that.
Oh, spoilers. Come on, Ray. Everyone wanted to wait for that. But yes, you are right. You did get the win over me this week. That is very well done from you. And what we're going to be doing today on the show is looking at a player's performance from a fantasy perspective and other fantasy breakdowns to help you all get game day ready. Let's dive right into this episode. I'm super excited. And before we do, we are here because of Game Day Squad. Create, coach, and compete. Sign up now to open your free starter packs and start building your dream team today. Wow, that's all gone now. It's all done.
Got hyped.
Of course, we're going to be doing our show. We're going to do our team review. We'll hop into some studs and duds, our pack of the week, which is why I know a lot of you are here to see who's going to win it, who's going to get that free pack, and then we'll do lock of the round. But let's get right into it, baby. Cal, why don't you start off this week with your team review and how you went?
Mixed week for me. I always say that my team I live and die by if I beat you. You are my benchmark, which has become quite sad to how my team season is going. But started in the worst possible way with Jeremy Cameron being knocked out was that Thursday night game. So straight away, I was with a lot of coaches on the negative too. That hurt. I knew I wasn't going to get close to the top 10 this week. New top 20, I'd need an absolute miracle. But I think from there, looking at my team, you can see I actually did fight back pretty well. So I did finish 58th, which wasn't fantastic. But Tom, I've moved up. I'm up to 15th in the overall rankings. So someone's had an even bigger shocker than I had. Makes me think what I could have done to actually get into that top 20. So we'll get into our studs and duds a bit later on. But you can see there were some big scores. A few players that I needed to go big, like Brayshaw, that did. He did quite well. A few players that still did disappoint. But more importantly, we've gotten through the buys, which was just a headache in trying to find forward depth. I was sitting there, I played Peter Wright, you can see, can't believe I did. But you know what I did? I made an absolute howler. I don't know, for some reason I thought the Lions were on the bye. So I didn't play Dunkley, and that's cost me. And again, we sit here and we should be the experts at this, but with everything else going on, I just can't believe I didn't even think about Dunkley in my forward line. So put myself on the hot seat for this week, but that's how I went.
Well, mate, look, your team definitely had some really high upside players, which sort of saved you in the long run, hey? So it was a fantastic week for you. You're up to 15th in the seasonal rankings. And in all honesty, if that's like a bad week and the worst it can get, it could definitely be worse, mate. Think about some weeks prior. So it's all good. You're back on that steady ship and you're ready to take those rankings. So let's go.
What about your week? What happened that had you behind me?
Okay, well, as you can see, I'm now in a different setup. I'm back at home. This is my OG setup. This is where I live, in this place right here. And I was a bit similar to you, mate. I was in absolute shambles. I was on a flight coming back to home. I was setting my team, and I just thought some teams were on a bye that weren't, and others, like, for example, Jack Sinclair. Why the hell was he on my bench? I had him in like all week. For some reason, I'd taken him out. And even though I started Rowan Marshall, so I missed out on that. I missed out on Luke Ryan. I just was in shambles, mate. But to sum it up, my team was pretty much studs or duds. You either exploded on my team and went way over expectations, or you dudded it up and gave me a royal stinker. I was a victim to Jezza as well. So tough week, but in all honesty, it could have been a lot worse. I was looking at my score, mid-weekend thinking, this could be a 1,500 week. This is not good. Thank goodness for Jordan Dawson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Geordie. Was it that a good one to see? I flicked on that game, and the top three players were Dawson, Dacos, and Laird, and I saw you had those three as well. So those three players from the game, I think most of the community would have had them, but it's always nice to see when the three players you got a 1, 2, 3. So yeah, no, that was a good game. That was making me feel a little bit better. Like I said, you're probably in the same boat where you just needed everything to be clawed back after the Jezza game.
Yeah, absolutely. We were down early, so we just needed anything to get positive there. But yeah, bye rounds are done. We can look forward now. All teams will be playing from now on. And just wanted to speak about quickly, that Adelaide game and Collingwood game might have been the game of the year. And I said that last time the two teams played off this exact same season. And I'm saying it again. This one was even better, I think. What a game.
Yeah, it was awesome. I only caught the tail end of it. I think it turned on with 5 minutes to go. So I didn't realise that the Crows were, down by 5 goals and then up by 5 goals or whatever. Like I saw the worm and it was like this. But honestly, I didn't really care about the result. It was one of those ones where Adelaide win and then Port goes on top of the ladder, but I don't really want Adelaide winning. I want them missing out on finals. So I didn't really care who won. I just wanted our boys, Jordan Dawson. I saw him go forward late and I was like, if he kicks the goal here, he's actually going to steal the record for the most points a player has scored in GDS. So we're around from halfway through last year to this year, would have broken Andy Brayshaw's record. So I was watching that more than the result. I just wanted the ball. Like that was the only thing I cared about late. So, but no, it was a good game and I wish I'd watched it from the start.
Yeah, what a cracker week. Cracker week. And speaking of cracker weeks, let's flick it over to Game Day Squad's leaderboard for our classic and champion competitions. And I can't believe the scores that I'm looking at right now in such a massive buy round. With so many good teams out, the Dogs, GWS, Richmond, all these top players all gone, and 2,700 is put up in our classic competition, and 3,200 and nearly 50 in our champion. Callum, mate, what a week.
Unbelievable. So I think a few things you'll notice there. Number one, we're not on there, no surprise. Kerm's not on there. So Kerm's not here today. Kerm is busy doing some other exciting things today, but he also didn't want to be on the show when he realised he wasn't going to be on the leaderboard for another week. So I know he's struggling in that champion competition, but those people that you can see there are not struggling at all. 2,742 in the classic competition is actually incredible. Tom, I've actually got a surprise for you. I'm dropping it on you on this midstream. You don't know this is happening. Going to flick the slide over here because what I've been able to obtain is the team from Arrogant Frogs who took out first place. That is the team you can see there, or the squad, I should say, that took out 2,742 points.
Wow.
Look at those scores. Goulden 190, Warner 163. He had Laird there 148. Laird, imagine how much higher he could have gone if he actually put the gold on someone else. Brayshaw huge, Duncan huge. And then even Dylan Moore only had 97 points. So it just shows you can have players that, even when your team's not perfect, Rowan Marshall wasn't fantastic, but he's still got a huge score there. It's quite impressive to see. What do you think of that team?
Yeah, I'll tell you the biggest surprise in this team. A lot of those players I can see playing a lot of Swannies, fair enough, up against West Coast. Great matchup in terms of fantasy. You think there'd be some big scores there, but Jordan Ridley, especially with the form that Redmond has been in, the fact that he's given the start to Ridley over, and that paid dividends. That was a huge call in the end because Ridley had a fantastic outing. Redmond, not so much. But that one surprised me a little bit. I'll tell you what, but everyone else there, that seems like he's just picked it perfect.
Yeah, he's nailed that, and I appreciate Arrogant Frogs for sharing his team with us there. Absolute cracker. Now let's talk about some of the players that actually got those players on the leaderboard or missed out in our case, and that of course is studs and duds. So Tom, I'll let you take it away because I know you were below me this week, so you need all the looking after you can. So you go first. You take it away.
Is that right, mate? Is that right? And touche. I've been giving it to you for a couple of weeks. I guess it was time to finally get it back. Well done again. But my stud is going to my saviour, as some would say, is Jordan Dawson. And slapping a gold card on him this week was the best decision that I made. I said multiple times that I'd fumbled the bag, I'd picked the wrong players. Thank goodness I stuck to my Jordan Dawson guns because, wow, did he go ballistic. Just have a look at this stat line in front of you. 27 kicks, 8 handballs, 9 marks, and 12 tackles just to go along with it. Thank you very, very much. That ended up being 203 fantasy points, and that was on a bronze card. Just let that sink in for a second. That's how good he played this week. Was outstanding.
Yeah, absolute lock for start of the round. You jumped in early with that one with your former Swan. So, yeah, couldn't go wrong with that there. You just spoke about Redmond, though, and he's ended up in your duds. Talk us through that.
I have. And Mason Redmond, like, I had a quick... Did some research because I was really surprised when I saw his score, and I played him this week and I was like, wow, that was really unders. And just let me tell you how unders it is. I've got it all here. So I've got a 5-round average for you before this round, and it was 123 fantasy points, which is, top 5 defender through that time period.
Yeah.
So he's been killing it. In fairness, he's been amazing, been fantastic, but you can see the stats there. He really struggled this week. He wasn't able to find the footy a lot. And just had very minimal impact. And a lot of that was because Ridley was taking over. But yeah, a lot of fantasy managers in such a thin buy round would have been looking at a player like Redmond to step up in their defender group, and just wasn't able to get it done this week. But I don't have concerns long term. I think it's a short term, just out of form for one game. I expect him to bounce back quite soon.
No, fair enough. I know with Parrish coming back into that side as well, there's been a few changes to it. So watch that space. Essendon looked poor on the weekend. Someone who didn't look poor, though, was your boy, Errol Goulden, who takes out my stud of the week. As a forward, 173 points was huge. 22 kicks. He kicked 3 goals. There was one he kicked out of the middle. I think he got tapped down. He ran out of the centre clearance
3 sausage rolls, mate. Yeah.
Could have had more. It was like Heaney. Heaney could have had 7 or 8. He was so close to being my stud playing Heaney, but he just missed a couple of goals. There was one I think he gave away running into it. But anyway, this is not the time to talk about Heaney. This is to talk about Goulden. He's very good at football. This guy, very, very good. He's almost like if you're not playing him in your team now, you're starting off, on back foot. He's averaging 130, which is huge. So that's more than Rowan Marshall. That's the same as Zachy Merritt. That's 7 points more than someone like Parrish, who are in the midfield all the time. So he's an absolute lock in teams at the moment. And I hope he continues this form because it's exciting to watch. Rowan Marshall as my duds. Now, I know you're going to like this one because you are hashtag English Gang. You are the cult leader of hashtag English Gang. 113 might be a bit stiff to put him as dud of the week, but I thought this was the opportunity for him to come out. People like yourself would have been playing him. It was kind of like the audition to be like, hey, Tim English is great, but I'm also pretty good. And he just didn't get the big score that I wanted. And it's not that he didn't get the hit out, so you can see he got 30 there. He just couldn't get the ball around the ground. 13 touches for this guy is pretty poor considering what he's able to do. So maybe I'm being a bit stiff on him, but I really wanted Marshall to stand up and go for a big 150 and really put that question mark in people's minds for when English is back next week. But for not doing that, he takes out my dud of the week.
Yeah, and look, it's fair enough. And it's no discredit to Rowan Marshall. If anything, it's actually a credit. It's because you hold him at such a high standard, and I know that. And that is the only reason you are disappointed. There are other players which you would happily take 115 off and move on and not even consider them for being a dud of the round. So it's a credit to his greatness and how good he has been prior. But yeah, I do agree with you. This was the week that, really could ruffle some feathers like my own. But now I'm feeling nice and tidy. English Gang is feeling nice and secure. We're not worried at all about any replacements.
Yeah, you're right. I could have been a bit harsher. Jakey Lloyd, but then again, the ball was just never down there for him. Peter Wright, that's my fault for playing him. So he's the only obvious choice for me this week. But yeah, bit stiff. But what's the opposite of... No, I'm not even going to say that. That would come off terrible if I said that. Ignore that. Tom, pack of the week. Let's move on to it. I know we've got our pack from Keyboy. I know this is normally Kerm's segment, so I'll take over here. You can see this guy, Keyboy, he packed 4 platinums in a 9-player common. Check that out. And one of them's my boy.
Not just...
And the other one, Tom Mitchell's not bad at football.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Wow. And just look
and
down the bottom of that pack. I know you're mind boggled on the platties, but that's a pretty nice and tidy silver to get. Goodness.
it is. It is the old Brayshaw card is pretty good. I'm assuming you meant that one and not McLean, but yeah, just a solid pack. Pal Pepper's been pretty good this year as
Yes.
well as a forward, depending on where you're at with your team at the moment. But man, I tell you what, if Wingard was still in some form this year, that could be one of the best packs we've ever seen pulled from a 9-player common. So shout out to Keyboy. He's going to have some packs coming his way. Make sure you get your packs in our Discord, where all you have to do is just take a screenshot of your pack. It could be your simple bronze packs that you get every week. It could be a pack like this, and we choose every week who we want as pack of the week, and it's your easiest way to get some packs, so make sure you get them in. We're going to have it as a mystery because Kerm's the one that normally sets the criteria for it, so this week we're not going to tell you what his criteria is because he hasn't told us yet. So send them through and we'll see, so you never know what's going to get you a win. But anything else you want to comment on that one, Tom, before we move on?
Yeah, I would. It's just I'm jealous. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I'm just going to say I wish I had some pack luck like this. And speaking of pack luck like this, I do have a pack opening coming this Friday to this YouTube channel.
Ooh.
We did part 1, and if you haven't seen that, check it out now. Callum opened up some Game Day Squad packs. We'll have a link on the screen for you. Just click there after watching this and go give it a geeze because it was quite a fun thing to record. And yeah, part 2 will be out this Friday. So.
It was a lot of fun. Hopefully, if Tom does his editing right, it's up here somewhere, up on the screen. He's put the little tag. That'll be a test. Everyone can see how Tom's going at producing the videos. But it was a lot of fun. Your part 2 video, I'm excited for that one coming out this week as well. But you know what I'm not excited for?
The next segment on this show, baby.
The next segment
Let's
on this
go.
show. Absolutely. Lock of the round. I don't even want to talk about it. I got sent a message from Mark, who jumped on the live show on Thursday night that we did, and it was a clip of me saying if his lock of the round hits and mine misses, then he can have my permanent spot on the live Thursday show. So this is my announcement that my time on a Thursday live show could be coming to an end for things I've said, because not only did Mark pull off his pick again, Darcy Parish couldn't even get 115. So I don't even want to talk about this anymore, Tom.
Let me talk about it because you were very adamant that you thought you'd work something out, pal. You thought that you'd run the numbers. You're like, look, when I do this, I hit. When I listen to your guys' advice, I don't. But you might have to contact headquarters because some calculations were off and they were wrong. You need to go back to the drawing board with that one. And I would like to make one extra further comment about it, is that I told you not starting Parish in your team was going to be a bad omen on the live stream. You said I was hedging, and look what happened, mate. I even started Parish in my team, and I had to suffer because
That's
of your
why
decision.
I beat you this week, which I'm just trying to figure out which one I care more about at the moment. Obviously would like both, but let's talk about, you can see the leaderboard, the community's overtaken me. Kerm also had a miss, so he went with Lockie Neal, 122 points. Neal did not get that. You had your boy Dunkley, who hit 127. You were stoked with that. That is salt in the wounds for me, forgetting Dunkley was playing. Again, what are we doing if we're leaving out people like Dunkley for Peter, right? I probably deserve to be where I am on the leaderboard, but you know what? This week I'm going to go big, and I'm going with Geordie Dawson for 120 points because there's no one bigger at the moment in the form. So
Big.
if we don't big, because I'm one from my last 7. After going one wrong from my first 7, I've got one right from the last 7. So I'm locking them in 120. I just need the W. Geordie, that's all I need. I don't need your 200. I just need your 120. So over to him. Hopefully, I believe they've got North. So fingers crossed.
Yep.
Who have you got?
Whew, gosh, I'm nervous. I'm the first person in quadruple digits in terms of scoring. You can see I had the 1,000 before. Callum, you were saying you thought my inevitable choke was going to come soon. I'm trying to hold that off. I'm coming in strong, man. I'm not nervous about this. I'm feeling very good, but I would like to say I had a good friend of mine. His name's Harrison, and shout out to him. He made a cheeky comment, which I realised is very true, is that I pick odd numbers all the time. So I thought for him, I'm going to pick an even number this week. You can see there, or not all the time, but it's very common that I like to pick an odd number. So I'm going with Tom Green, 128 fantasy points. He's versing the Melbourne Demons this week. Clary is still questionable to be back, but I think whether he is in or not, despite that news, Tom Green is going to have a monster game for GWS to even stay in contention for that one. And I'm loving his matchup in that midfield. I don't think there'll be a tag or anything coming. So Tommy Green, 128. Let's go.
That's a big call. Do you know why? Because Tommy Green has only gone over 128 once since round 8. On my quick fact check. There you go. So you're asking for a big game from him. So I do like Tommy Green.
I am.
His average is 127. So there you go. I think that was propped up by that huge game in round 8 that he had, where he almost double tons as well. So stay tuned to the live show on Thursday night to get Kerm's pick, and then also see who we've got from the community. We do have a special guest this week, so very excited to see who their projections say is going to be number 1. So that might give listeners who have been following along a clue as to who that's going to be.
Bow, bow. Absolutely, mate. But that's going to wrap us up for another episode of Game Day Squad's Aussie Rules show. This was for round 16. And if you have made it this far, why don't you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. We are dropping AFL fantasy content every single week. Stay tuned for that pack opening that's coming out on Friday. We can't wait to deliver that to you. Shout out for being here, and we'll see you in the next one. See you guys.